Well, hello and welcome back to Red Fox Classics and the Mk2 GT6 that is hidden under a load of stuff there. So we've just finished dealing with the nightmare door shell and we're at the point where it's time to get the skin on the door, get the door on the car and then start fitting up the front wing and the sill and the rear wing and all the bits that need the door to be ready to be fitted up properly. There's still a couple of little things left to do on the door shell and skin before they're ready to go on. And also, before I put the skin on the door, I think I'm going to put all of the window mechanisms inside of it as well, just to check that it does indeed still seem to be the same shape and work. So let's go on with those. Okay, I'm bouncing around a bit at the moment. I wasn't quite ready to start recording the put the skin on the door episode, and I was just going to clean up and paint the inside edge of the skin, because I found if you leave this, if you start hitting this e-coat stuff with a hammer to fold the skin over, it starts flaking off. So I want to primer around the edges where I can get it, and I'm also going to put in the reinforcement plate like is on the original there. So I want a clean bit to weld to. It turned out the skin came with a dent in the back here, which I've been working on getting out. So in there, which is almost there. Also, the thing you should check is that this line is straight. It wasn't. To sort that, I've tucked the dolly under the edge of here and given that bit more of a bend in, just straightened up that top edge. Still not, yeah. It says quality panels. I'm not 100% with that, in agreement with that. But I've got the shell ready for paint, or getting painted around the edge, and I'll knock this into shape. That just needs a little bit more something. So I've cut out this little bit, which is intended to replace or be the equivalent of that. So I'm going to get that painted and welded in there. I've got one last little thing to do on the door shell, and that is repair the tab that holds the captive plate in. So annoyingly, I got to paint something and then weld it, and then I've got to weld something and then paint it. So anyway. Right, so I got that in primed. Everything's painted that I need to, I think. And I've also got some cavity wax and gone underneath all these brackets and in here. I've just done that once with the shell lying flat, and once with it stood up in the position it's going to be in, and as you can see it's running out everywhere, but that should, I don't think I can do any more now. They've got primer, they've got wax oil, yeah. So when that's all had a chance to dry, it's time to get the skin on the door. Tell you what, it's not all that much easier assembling a door without the skin on. But I got this in place. I've held it up against the car. The quarter light, I seem to be able to get that set at a good angle. What I didn't notice when I took this apart, and I've just had to refigure out, is that these brackets are all actually slightly different. You see this one, actually it's more difficult to see. That one's slightly shorter than this one, because the quarter light needs to tilt into the car, and it can't go, this bracket can't go too far down, because otherwise the winder mechanism doesn't work. This was confusing me a bit as well, but if you look at the marks on the glass, which we can't see here, it's only the rear of the glass that sits in the channel. This is pretty knackered and needs repair, but job for later. And providing that end behaves itself, window works until it hits the vise. So yeah, and you can see the back end in the channel there. So that's all pretty good because it works, and that means the door shower's in something like the right shape. And I think the quarter light sat about where it should be, though these bits of red paint make me a bit unsure as to whether it should be a bit lower. And this still, I tested it before I welded it in, but this still feels too tight, so I might have to do a bit of adjustment there. Well, the mechanical bits should work, so progress. I'm not going to film the whole re-disassembly of the door because it's just undoing bolts, but I thought this was handy because we can actually see into the shell. You can see how the window channel works and how that comes apart. Because it's different from the Spitfire, it's easier than the Spitfire. Because, where did it go? Somewhere in here there's a glass stop, which obviously I've not put back in. But all you have to do here is roll it down far enough that the winder disengages. Then the glass should slide out. I'll get all this all this taken back apart and stowed away, and then we get on with fixing the skin on. Alright, so that's all those bits back off, and I've just given this a bit of a bend to open it up a little, and I'm going to slip the skin on and see if we can test fit the quarter light. Well, I'm going to try to slip the skin on. Okay, I changed my mind, just chop that bit out. I'm gonna put the skin on, and then I'll fit it, make something that fits the width of the channel. Okay, so I've taken my vise off so I can put the bench into door skinning mode. So another quick check. It's a little bit in there, but top's still straight, bottom's still straight, in there straight. We've got this lump up here which I am going to be able to get my hand behind to get a dolly too, so I think I'm happy to put the skin on. Now to do this you need a nice flat dolly, and that's held under the edge, or right at the edge of the door, or the edge of the skin. Then start to fold this lip over. And once we've got far enough, we'd start to use the door skinning pliers when I remember where I put them. So these let you pinch a bit of metal, so we're going to eventually fold that lip over enough so we can use that to crimp it down. Now, I have seen some people just pinch it over in a couple of places first to hold it in place, which sort of makes sense, but my experience of that has been you end up not being able to get a very straight line. So I did that on my first Spitfire door, and it was a mistake. And it's just a case of working this all the way around. Okay, you can see here I've gone for a slight change of plan. This was, as I was fitting it on, it was just pulling it back round, so I've tacked it here, and in the hope that that's going to keep it in the right place. So when you get onto using this tool, plastic face or flat face goes on the outside skin of the door shell, and you want to be very careful that you're holding this in place, squeezing with that lever, because it's very easy to kind of grab and move it, and that twists your door skin. So I found that putting my hand under the edge and holding it to the door skin is the way to go. That has held in place. Okay, so I'll get on and do the rest of this, and then we'll have a look when it's finished. So this is what I was talking about, with the E-coat falling off as soon as you start to hammer at it. Anyway, this has mostly gone alright, except for where it hasn't. So, if you can see here, the shell is poking out from underneath the door of the skin. So I've got an idea on how to fix it, but first of all, let's put the door on the car and see what it looks like, because once I start trying to do something about this, that's the shell, that's the skin very much fixed in place, and I might be able to adjust if I don't weld on here. Anyway, it's turned into a shelf again, so let's undo that. So, it's not looking too bad. I pull it out to match the wing. That's quite nice. Gap's a bit larger than I might want, but you know, I can extend the edge of the door, I think, in this case. The important thing is it's nice and straight along the bottom, and it matches the sill. We've got a reasonable match to the wing here. I think the wing might want to come down a little. Might still be some, you know, door edge to come up, wing to come down, something like that in that area, but it's not bad. This is not looking great, but the door's actually kicked in a bit there. And this is obviously it was a harder area to do, so I think I'll fix this by a bit of manipulation to the shell and skin to bring that out to match the sill. The weird thing is the sill's now sitting very happily over the edge of the pressing in the wing. I've not changed anything. So I wonder if it was actually the door being a bit shorter in this area, a bit something in this area. I don't know. It was making me want to push the sill back. But that's also why I want to do the door first, because now we've got the door, we can kind of, all of these panels are the final panels, and if we're going to move them or build up an edge or something like that, that's what we can do it on these panels and not be guessing. So I'll best have this back off. I guess I'll start with trying to correct this area and then deal with the bottom lip not being attached properly. And really everything else can wait, because if we've got to add to any panels, we do that when they're all ready to have that happen. You know, the edge of the wing wants folding over, that's going to change it slightly, it's going to change this gap slightly, you know, so it's all there to be adjusted now. So that's looking better. Done a mixture of grabbing this with the skinning pliers and tweaking it round carefully and putting a dolly over the front of the door and hammering on the lip. So that's looking alright now. It's fitting pretty well. It's a bit of a gap at the top there, but there was before. Yeah, so we see how the latch works out. I mean, it looks like when I put the latch on, it's going to be in the right place. So it's probably going to be a case of filling the edge of this door a little bit, which is alright. Let's just shut the bonnet. Yeah, so we're looking okay here. Perhaps this gap is still a bit wide, but again, we can kind of even all that up. I'm expecting the skin to tuck in a little, the wing to tuck in a little bit once its lip is folded round. That's perhaps I think maybe trying to bring this corner up a little bit is going to be a good idea. Just because that feels low. That's meeting up okay, but that feels lower. So tweak this corner up a little bit and then deal with the mess on the back side. Okay, we're getting there. I've just noticed though, as you can see, probably difficult to tell when I'm not moving the camera. Yeah. Might just be able to see it. Still a little bit flex in the A-post. So I'm going to reinstate my strap because it feels like the bottom of the door wants to pull in a little bit, which it would if the A-post pulled in. But overall, this has been pretty successful. I mean, the whole of the door shell's come apart and is now back together and fitting reasonably well. You know, this aperture is wider than I wanted, but I'm not sure how much it matters. I'm really hoping to be able to avoid skinning that one because it fits really nicely. We'll just have to see what it looks like under the paint. Anyway, just a tiny bit more tweaking to do, and then we can start thinking about putting the whole lot together. Okay, so I've cut back the fold over of the skin along here, and I'm just going to insert a strip that overlaps better and weld it. Not super ideal, but somewhere between the skin lip's definitely narrower. I was going to say it's about the length of my nail there. I was going to say it's me making the door the wrong shape, but no, that lip's just a lot narrower. Great. Okay, well, anyway, that's being dealt with. So, it's finally time to come back here. I think what I'm going to do here is just kind of cut this off above the hole. We'll see what this bit of metal looks like inside. You know, maybe we put a little bit more on the bottom and put it back. Maybe we remake the whole thing.
But I want to do it high because that gives me a chance to clean inside the sill and deal with this lip and whatever we find under there. So I'll get this cut off and we'll see what it looks like. Well, aside from me mangling this a bit when removing it, it's in really good condition. As is in here. Doesn't look to be a huge amount wrong. So there's a bit of debris. And most of that's sand from the blasted stuff. What's that? Is that a Lego brick? Something like that. No, it's too small for Lego. And this is solid though. This is solid. Can't complain too much here. Yeah, so I'll do a bit of clean up and figure out what we're going to put back. Okay, so I got my strip in under the light there. Got my strip in. Done a little bit here. Gone and done the normal, a couple of tacks to keep the skin in place. Weld up that. Filled in this little area here. And that little edge. So I can see this looks like it's gone a little bit wobbly. So got some grinding and hammering to do. So I've been editing this together and discovered that my camera has started getting confused. It thinks it has an external microphone and it's trying to use it. And this doesn't exist. So the upshot is I've got a load of clips without audio, including the original ending of this video. So we're on the emergency backup camera and I have to see what I can do. Anyway, this door is done, for now at least. There's still some bits I'm not quite happy with the gap along the top, and there's definitely some rather distorted metal on the inner face that I might need to find some way of dealing with. But I need to break from it, because I got quite fed up with the amount of work put into it and everything going wrong. So I have still used it to put the sill and the rear wing on, what you're going to see next, because it was, I think, in a good enough place to be able to do that. And because I wanted to brake, I wanted to do something mechanical, which meant I needed to get the gearbox out of the car, which meant I needed to be happy taking the door bar out. So I decided just to get on with it, and we'll see if I regret it later. Anyway, if you want to see the next bit, which is going to be more bodywork, more metal work, make sure you're subscribed. It's free for you, helps me out, because if I get another like 340, then YouTube will start giving me advertising money, which will be quite nice. If you want to support the channel in another way, we do have stickers available. Should be a shop link below this video and in the channel header. But for now, what remains to say is thanks everyone who already is subscribed. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting, and I will see you in the next one.